Lost media is pretty interesting. The idea that some media was like made a long time ago, but now we just can't see it anymore, is almost sad and scary to imagine something being completely lost to time, and I think that's why we all love lost media so much. Anyways, without wasting any more of your time, let's get straight into this iceberg about internet lost media specifically. And by the way, this video is in a little series I'm doing where I'm covering this huge iceberg about internet mysteries. And so for example, there are going to be other videos in this series like Unsolved Internet Mysteries should already be out, Solved Internet Mysteries, Internet Hoaxes, and Internet Urban Legends, as well as this one. So yeah, subscribe if you want to see more of those. Please subscribe, because this is going to be a great series. Also, I have a Discord community. It's a great community, some cool people in there. I have an Instagram too, where I just update you on my life, my channel, and everything. Go join my Discord and follow my Instagram, and let's get straight to this iceberg. Starting in Layer 1, everyone talks about this. Pinwheel Clockman. Operative Sally, or About Dressy Sally, is a 1971 Czechoslovakian animated short film that's got quite the story behind it. Picture this. It's the 1970s communist Czechoslovakia, and this paper cutout animation is created. Fast forward 2 years, and the film makes its way to the US, where the Learning Corporation of America gives it an English dub and renames it Sally. Rumor has it, this film appeared on Nickelodeon's puppet-driven show Pinwheel in the 1980s. For the longest time, its existence was shrouded in mystery, earning it the nickname Clockman. So basically, a bunch of people have reported seeing this cartoon, and they were all wondering where it came from. Kind of like a Mandela effect a little bit, but it was actually real, and people were just talking about it on forums, and that's what we're gonna get into here in a bit about these people who were telling these scary stories about this thing. But first, a little bit more background on the cartoon itself. The film was a product of AAA Studio, also known as the Arts and Animation Studio, and was based on a story from Jan Vladislav's 1971 book. The story itself drew inspiration from an old English folktale. Directed by Dagmar Dubkava and photographed by Jason Sehan, the film received recognition, including an honorable mention at the Gottwaldov Film Festival in 1977. Being a creation of a communist nation, the film's journey across the globe was somewhat of a mystery to its creators. The mystery of the Clockman sparked real interest on January 12, 2012, when Commander Santa posted on Bungie.net about this animated cartoon from the 80s, and this said post would kick off a search that would last about 5 years and gain much traction. According to Commander Santa, the short involved a young boy laying in his bed who gets snatched up by Clockman, a discolored, unkempt entity that emerges from the wall clock above the child's bed at the stroke of midnight. The boy, after being taken on an eerie adventure, is subsequently returned to his room before sunrise. Michael W. Howe's uncannily similar description of a scary Pinwheel short can be found within a 2002 to 2004 AnimationNation.com forum thread involving a young girl making a deal with a wizard after losing her red shoes. The deal is that a wizard would replace the shoes so long as the child told her mother about the extraordinary event. Incidentally, the girl decides not to tell her mother, to which the wizard responds by emerging out of her wall clock, snatching her up and demanding an explanation. She eventually agrees to make it up to the wizard by sewing stars to be placed in the night sky, before being replaced to her mother, to whom she then recounts the entire experience. But we're gonna get into more detail about that as well later on. The search for Clockman took many directions. Some thought it was a Danish animation, others speculated Irish origins, linking it to folklore and even the story of the red shoes. There was also a theory about his Canadian connection, linking it to the Bonhomme Sept Ores folktale, which we're gonna talk about right now. At the time, many shorts from Pinwheel came from Canada. The known Clockman plot was thought to have possibly been inspired by Quebec folklore. In the story of Bonhomme Sept Ores, which means the 7 o'clock man, a man hides in a child's room and steals them if they fail to go to sleep before their bedtime at or after 7 p.m. One anonymous commenter described the short, recounting that the wizard's name was Benjamin, but they could have initially misheard a narrator saying his name was Bonhomme. Pinwheel used the National Film Board of Canada's media, and Clockman was thought to be among them. With this proposal, many things began to make sense. Both 7 O'Clock Man and Clockman have a very similar appearance and name. Both of them have a beard and wore a trench coat. And furthermore, folkloric description of the 7 O'Clock Man did seem to be similar to the plot of the Clockman. What was problematic was that nothing in any archive or collection on 7 O'Clock Man matched up with Santa's description of its style. Remember, Santa is the guy earlier who posted on the forum about seeing the cartoon. Nevertheless, according to Dykate, Commander Santa says 7 O'Clock Man seems to fit the bill. So he said it, but it didn't really make any sense. Later, a short made in 1984 or 1985 was located on WorldCat called Le Hiver au le Bonhomme Sept Ores, or Winter or the 7 O'Clock Man, as a part of a compilation of shorts based upon the Gigi and Pichu books. This also was a false lead though. The short was recorded off a VHS tape and uploaded by Lost Media Wiki user Toy My Shadow, but unfortunately it didn't match any actual descriptions of the Clockman. In 2016, Dykate contacted Michael Kerp, a writer on Pinwheel, who gave him the contact information of Tippy Tippy Fortune, the executive producer for the show in the early 1980s. When Tippy responded, she said that most of the films featured on Pinwheel were acquired from Coe Films, and after some research, it was discovered that the founder and head of Coe Films, Bernice Coe, had passed away in 2001. Looking for Coe Film catalogs and contacting old employees became the biggest lead in the search, as it was one of the two major ways to locate Clockman. But also really quick, before we get more into the narrative, let me explain the red shoes theory and the Irish theory. So the description of the Clockman short bore a strong resemblance to Hans Christian Andersen's The Red Shoes. To summarize the story, a poor orphan girl is adopted and cared for by a rich woman, and she soon becomes spoiled. One day, her caretaker decides to buy her a pair of new red shoes, and soon the girl becomes obsessed with them. The girl wears the shoes to church, but is scolded by an old woman, perhaps a nun, and is told to only wear black shoes to church. Despite this, the girl decides to wear the shoes to church again, and this time a red-bearded soldier talks to the shoes, saying, "Oh, what beautiful shoes for dancing, never come off when you dance." Which, I mean, that's a quote from it, bro. I don't know, it doesn't make any sense to me either. After this, the girl's shoes begin to dance, and she can't stop dancing and suffers misfortune. The girl later gets her feet amputated, but the shoes still dance anyway. The girl asks for forgiveness before she is finally exalted into heaven. And there are many strong themes that are shared in common with the accounts, namely the theme of not being spoiled, but also the theme of a bearded man, a mother, and red shoes. There are major differences though. In the retellings of Clockman, the punishment involves the girl sewing stars to the night sky, where in the red shoes, the punishment is misery or even death. But it was thought that maybe they just altered it because it was like a kid's short, but this turned out to be a false lead. The red shoes has been parodied homage since the 1940s, but it never became the Clockman. The Irish theory is also relevant here. There is a report that the Clockman in the short had an Irish accent and was supposed to be a leprechaun and did an Irish river dance. While there are no exact matches that describe the short in Irish folklore, there are some running themes such as a cobbler or a shoemaker. The short also seems to loosely follow the tale of a changeling. Changelings were believed to be fairy children who were put in place of a real child. The child was kidnapped by the fairies for a variety of reasons, such as acting as a servant, out of pure love or even malice of extortion. But then this turned out to be a false lead as well. And then also, since the short's actually been found, the Irish river dance testimony is proven to be unreliable and just like fake. Anyway, so the real breakthrough came on December 10th, 2017. Lost Media Wiki user Nitrate Nerd, while searching on WorldCat, stumbled upon a YouTube link to the film uploaded by AAA Studios. 11 days later, Commander Santa confirmed it was the same film he remembered. But then, finding the English dub was another adventure. After learning Core of America shut down in 1990, its films scattered across various companies. But on January 11th, 2018, the English dub resurfaced thanks to discussions between Lost Media Wiki users and AV Geeks, an educational film preservation group. And this version was later uploaded in 4K to archive.org. Now, the original Czech and the English dub versions of Clockman are available, with the latter showing some minor changes in narration, character names, and the story's moral to suit its young American audience.
She was strong enough to make stars. She was strong enough to tell the truth. Suddenly, a guy for me too. Now it's time for you to go home. That morning, the yellow gloves Mr. Cadabra gave her were right on her bed. The first thing Sally did was to tell her mother the whole story. "Thank you," said her mother, who now remembered a strange dream she had once, many years ago.
The tale of the Clockman, from a mystery to a rediscovered piece of animation history, is a fascinating journey of a film crossing borders and decades, capturing the imagination of many along the way. Camera heads. Camera heads, also known as I Killed a Camerahead or The Cameraheads or Camerahead, is an early creepypasta first posted on the paranormal boards of 4chan on Saturday, August 8th, 2009, having previously been claimed to have been made in 2008. The plot of this creepypasta involved a person who discovered a pile of rocks, a mini DV video cassette, and a torn envelope scattered on the ground while walking, with signs of a struggle being indicated. Inside the envelope, there was a note written in ash or charcoal that contained the phrases, "I killed a camerahead, it took Trevor," and "Get help if I don't come back." The contents of the cassette are then uploaded to YouTube by the person, who promptly goes silent. Following the initial posting of the story, Cameraheads became the first creepypasta to be detailed on the Paranormal Board's wiki, following its establishment later in 2009. It is here that details related to the story would remain for several years, even being featured in the BS category of the wiki, indicating that it was frequently reposted to the point of oversaturation. Over time, however, interest would gradually begin to wane in the site, which, alongside numerous attacks from other image boards, led to its rebranding and eventual shutdown. When all this occurred, all media posted on the site, including Cameraheads, went with it. Unlike most of the site's contents, however, Cameraheads had remained unaccounted for, with archives of the page it was on being few and far between. The same was true for the paranormal boards, of which very few archives are known to exist prior to 2014, by which time people were beginning to take note of the unavailability of the story. For many years after its initial posting, the story seemed to be entirely lost. On August 18th, 2020, a 4chan user posted a link to a video related to the creepypasta in a thread discussing it, among other lost media. The video, titled simply Camera Head, was uploaded to YouTube on August 8th, 2009, the same day as the 4chan thread itself, by user Kotyakov, and featured the description, "Weird video I captured from a mini DV I found in a gully near my house." General consensus agreed early on that the video was indeed part of the creepypasta, and the finding of the 4chan thread itself has since outright confirmed it. On October 19th, 2020, Lost Media Wiki user Marnin005 discovered an archive link of the recent changes section of the forum it was originally on via archive site archive.is. It was through this that they discovered an RSS feed of edits to the page for Camera Heads, which contained a full transcript of the 4chan post that contained the story, rendering it found. Now, for many years following its disappearance, it had been believed by many that the Camera Heads creepypasta had been far more extensive than it actually ever was. Some described it as being similar in format to the Mark Danielewski novel House of Leaves, with elements of an ARG, with cursed images and videos from the mini DV tape, claimed to be the memories of what the Camera Head itself had seen, and documents of the Camera Head's previous victims reportedly being posted alongside the story itself. The alleged vast array of additional content led to varying descriptions of the Camera Heads themselves being created, with some describing them as outwardly human creatures that acted, perhaps unwittingly, as living surveillance cameras, others describing them as having cameras instead of heads, hence the name, and some claiming that they were more of a biochemical design similar to the works of H.R. Geiger. However, it has since been proven that any such additional material doesn't actually exist, or at the very least isn't actually connected to the original creepypasta in any capacity. The original post was just one post, and the one YouTube video was just one YouTube video, and they were made together to be related to the story before the initial poster went silent. This stood in direct opposition to most people's claims of there being a large number of posts and supplementary material created for the story, and many years later it was unclear to whom this inaccuracy was on the part of. However, on May 16th, 2022, Lost Media Wiki user PyRightYT would discover an archived 4chan thread from 2012 about Camera Heads that officially confirmed that no further content related to the story exists, with this thread claiming that the initial post, quote, killed the Camera Head's viability and popularity. The Camera Head creatures themselves would go on to gain popularity in some online circles as an example of a cryptid, but any material created about them in this regard is entirely disconnected from the initial post that created the whole idea. Crackmaster. Cracks, also known as Crackmaster, was an animated Sesame Street short that aired for its first time on December 31st, 1975. The short gained notoriety in the late 2000s due to its mysterious disappearance from the show, having abruptly stopped airing in 1980 with no official reason ever been offered. The official description of the short, as found in documentation sourced from the Children's Television Workshop archives at the University of Maryland College Park, reads, quote, "A girl lying in a bed imagines she sees a crack in the wall," and then in parentheses it says divergent thinking, time 129. Now, divergent thinking refers to the educational goals for the short based around creative ideas and, by extension, problem solving. The short is narrated in a dreamlike rhyming sing-song by Dorothy Moskowitz, later of the indie electronic group United States of America. As indicated, it tells the story of a young girl kept indoors on a rainy day, passing the time by spinning fantasies about the crack creatures, a camel, a hen, and a monkey, she sees in various cracks in the walls of her house. The creatures come to life to greet her, and together they set out to find the source of mysterious noises in the attic. Instead of a new crack friend, they encounter the unnerving Crackmaster, a large, distorted face that bellows angrily at the group, moments before crumbling to the ground. The narrator makes the point that Crackmaster, quote, destroyed himself trying to be mean. As everyone disperses back to their respective walls, and since the rain has stopped, the girl runs out to play, promising to go into the cracks again someday. In late 2008, the short re-entered the pop culture consciousness via internet posters reminiscing about seeing it as children, and in particular how scary the Crackmaster had seemed to them. One of these posters, a man by the name of John Armood, spearheaded the search. It quickly emerged that the Sesame Workshop not only had entirely dropped the short, but were extremely reluctant to even discuss it. No official explanation why has ever been provided, but it's thought a combination of the short's unsettling undertones plus emerging sensitivities around the word crack, i.e. cocaine, especially in the context of an obviously low-income environment. Armood did, however, come into possession of a copy of the short from a mysterious source. Though with hefty strings attached, he was forbidden from sharing his acquisition from anybody and was under no circumstances allowed to reproduce it for public viewing. While he freely offered and held showings in his home, and on a few occasions to small audiences elsewhere, he upheld his contractual obligations and refrained from uploading it online, much to the dismay of others. He relented to the extent of recording a 9-minute audio documentary on the short in 2009, including a word-for-word reading of the script. This was shared with a handful of people he'd previously been in contact with and eventually found its way to YouTube. Armoud was unable even to confirm the short's correct title or the names of those involved in its creation. To this day, the identities of its executive producers and animators are still completely unknown. For a time, famed animator Cosmo Anzalotto was rumored to have worked on it, though when questioned he denied any involvement, or at least the memory of it. All Moskowitz can recall is being summoned for a gig in a recording studio where a woman in white handed her a script and asked her to improvise a musical narration, which does help explain the dreamlike atmosphere that gives the short both its charm and notoriety. In the years following Armoud's acquisition, several Latin American lost media enthusiasts came forward with claims that the short had aired in the 1990s and 2000s on the Spanish dub of Sesame Street, Plaza Sésamo. This version was uploaded to YouTube by user AT Productions on March 15th, 2017, with a higher quality VHS recording being released on March 31st, 2017. After conducting an extensive search effort of his own, involving letters and emails to both Sesame Workshop and the archives of their predecessor, the Children's Television Workshop, Lost Media Wiki founder Daika was sent a copy of the original English language short by a generous anonymous source on December 24th, 2013. It was uploaded to YouTube shortly thereafter and has garnered nearly 1 million views since. It has been confirmed by blogger Jennifer Bourne, aka Namawal, who was among those who privately screened Armoud's copy. The version sent to Daika is not the same as the one that Armoud had been provided with, as the latter was taken from an actual episode of Sesame Street and began with a brief glimpse of a previous skit. By contrast, Daikaite's version appears to have been directly sourced from an official archive of some kind, beginning with a formal title card complete with production code and runtime. This cataloging system fits well with the original format of Sesame Street, which featured an extensive library of short animations that would be re-aired at random over several episodes.
Corner found a giant crack. "Who are you?" they said. The crack just growled instead and made himself look very big and mean. He said, "I am Crack Master." But just then the wall plaster began to crumble to the floor, and where the monster stood were only beams of wood. He destroyed himself trying to be mean.
Sesame Street episode 847. By the way, guys, I am recording this part like 2 weeks after the other one because I'm like sick. I got really sick and I'm still a little bit sick, but I think I'm up for it. But yeah, if my voice sounds like shot, that's why. So I apologize. On February 10th, 1976, one of Sesame Street's most controversial episodes to date aired for the first and only time. Episode 847 starred Margaret Hamilton reprising her role as the Wicked Witch of the West from the classic film The Wizard of Oz. The central plot of the episode involves the witch losing her magic broom whilst flying over Sesame Street, only to have it wind up in the hands of David, who refuses to return it, skeptical towards the witch's intentions. As a result, she threatens to turn both Big Bird and David into inanimate objects, a feather duster and a basketball respectively, also suggesting that she would make it rain inside Mr. Hooper's store if the broom was not returned. Out of all the Sesame Street residents, the only one to react favorably towards the witch is Oscar, even to the point of developing a crush on her, although Big Bird also eventually warms to the witch and is saddened when she leaves, comically dropping her broom for a second time as the episode ends. In the days following the episode's airing, a barrage of complaints was received by the Children's Television Workshop, the majority of which were from angered parents whose children had been traumatized by Hamilton's frightening guest appearance. Due to the episode's overwhelmingly poor reception, several additional test screenings were held the following month. Although the results were generally inconclusive, with a large portion of the test audience appearing fascinated by the witch rather than scared on account of her green face, as during this period some families didn't have access to a color TV. Despite the test's inconclusive results, the initial complaints were enough for Ana Herrera to declare the episode unsuitable for re-airing. It had not been aired or shown publicly in any form since. Notably, Hamilton had made appearances a year earlier on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood as herself, dressing up in her witch costume at the end of the Mr. Rogers segment, in order to reassure children that the Wicked Witch of the West didn't actually exist and was simply just a character. She also appeared months after her Sesame Street appearance on the Paul Lynde Halloween special as the witch, acting more fun-loving and wacky, and both were not met with any controversy and were generally well received. In February 2019, it was announced that over 4,500 episodes of Sesame Street over its 49 seasons would be archived in the American Archive of Public Broadcasting. Episode 847 was later confirmed as being included in the catalog, but is only available for viewing at the Library of Congress. Craig Sheeman, the president of Jim Henson Legacy, hosted a screening of clips from the episode at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City on November 24th, 2019, as part of a Lost and Found event celebrating Sesame Street's 50th anniversary. The screening was also accompanied by an unaired segment from Snuffy's Parents Get a Divorce and a discussion panel with puppeteer Stephanie D'Abruzzo, former Sesame Street head writer Norman Stiles, and Sesame Street Workshop's Rosemary Truglio. The episode in its entirety was leaked online anonymously in June of 2022. Now, it's still technically illegal to share it, so just a little warning for you guys, I do not condone sharing this episode. Jeff the Killer original image. Jeff the Killer is a creepypasta character portrayed as a noseless and pale-faced man without eyelids and black loops around his eyes. The character became famous with this image used as an internet screamer and over time grew to a widespread creepypasta. The image is an edited version of someone's face, but the original image is unknown but believed to have once existed on the internet. There are two known widespread versions of the early Jeff the Killer image. The earlier variant uses different eyes and a non-distorted smile compared to the second and more famous edit. Both variants could be seen on numerous Japanese image boards throughout the mid-2000s before becoming popularized by Killer Jeff on Newgrounds. The first known appearances of the earlier picture began with a Japanese media sharing site called fileman.n1e.jp by an anonymous user on July 24th, 2005. It was accompanied by a caption in Japanese, which roughly translates to "the fear of summer nights," and the description, also in Japanese, means about a certain celebrity before plastic surgery. Some of the comments mentioned seeing the image on other sites, suggesting that they were previous posts. The image later appeared on other image board and forum sites such as, I'm just gonna put them on screen, along with hundreds of reposts on 2channel, now under the URL of 5ch.net, mainly with the purpose of scaring people. The first repost on a non-Japanese website was on speedguide.net, dating to October 23rd, 2005. Although the picture was unarchived, the image's name, prettyface.jpg, aligned with the same image name posted to Gamashura. The user behind the post was contacted, confirming the image he posted was the early Jeff variant, and later made a blog post about his experience with the image. Ever since, there were no found reposts to the first variation of the image on a Western site in that time period. The second variant of the image that later went to be the one used in the Jeff the Killer creepypasta first appeared again on media sharing site paya.cc by user OmegaVolt on November 16th, 2005. On 4chan, some users speculate the still image is a screenshot of a girl's video call from livestream website Stickam. The story follows the girl who appeared to be unattractive and was autistic. The snapshot of her livestream mysteriously floated around 4chan's random board B. In the post captions, the original poster, or OP, impersonates the girl asking if they were pretty or requesting to make the photo more beautiful. Eventually, many responders participated in tampering with the photo by progressively making it more repulsive. The OP proceeded to complain about the photoshops as more were made. As a result, the poster left the board. Another rumor scattered that an additional photo was either attached to her Stickam page or shared privately. It was a photograph of her standing next to a family member wearing a sweatshirt. One of the first notices of this was on a paranormal post of /X. Mr. Mulholland, the person who posted the original variant on paya.cc, claimed it arose from a Japanese video of a middle-aged woman. Considering the photoshops emerged from Japan and Japan's Stickam site not released until 2006, these claims are dubious at best. Posted in November of 2007, a YouTube video entitled NNN and then some Japanese characters featured the later edit around the 4-minute and 11-second mark. In August 2008, an internet user named Killer Jeff posted the image on the Newgrounds forum. In the post, he stated it was a picture of himself. In October 2008, Killer Jeff uploaded a video presentation of a creepypasta based on the character. The video gained popularity beyond 700,000 views over time and got deleted due to copyright terms. In 2011, a story made by Killer Jeff's brother, Gamerfuel TV, was submitted to the Creepypasta Wiki. On April 20th, 2008, the image was commonly believable to originate from a user's sister who committed sewer slide. On 4chan's random board, the OP attaches a picture in the post claiming it got taken the final hours before her alleged death. Rumor has it she got made fun of in the forums because of her appearance, and the internet users went on to Photoshop the photo. Consequently, she passed away the next day, leaving OP shocked. During an investigation of the early Jeff the Killer image finding, some users stumbled upon a MySpace account presenting the woman's photo labeled Katie Robinson. An early version of the image measures back to early 2005 on a Christian parody site, truechristian.com. The woman's actual name is Heather, and she's still alive, and Heather insists that she has nothing to do with the Jeff the Killer image, and is not part of the 4chan thing. She had nothing to do with the 4chan rumor. The Backrooms. The Backrooms is a creepypasta about a purgatory-like labyrinth one can become trapped in forever. It manifests as an infinite office building, totally devoid of any furnishing, which gives a disconcerting liminal space effect. The carpet is moist, the lighting is harsh, the wallpaper is ugly, and all three have an unpleasant yellowed hue. There have been many attempts to find the source of this original image, but all have come up short so far. By the way, guys, I know, like I'm boy, like I know that there's more levels to it, but this is just for the original level, like lost media thing. So don't think I'm stupid. I know there's more levels to the backrooms than just the one. The backrooms phenomenon, as it's known today, was born on May 18th, 2019 on 4chan's paranormal board. An image of an eerily empty room, known to many as a liminal space, was posted along with a thread requesting, quote, disquieting images that just feel off. A reply to this thread would then create the concept of the backrooms. This story would then get reposted with the thread's original image attached rather than the story's image, and then this created the widespread concept of the backrooms. This image, however, originated much earlier than the lore in the widespread attention, having been first spotted on 4chan's random board on Sunday, 8th April 2018. This image is the earliest found upload of the image and is posted as a simple, quote, creepy image. The file name for the image is 1342377940136.jpg, which could be a Unix timestamp, which would translate to Sunday, July 15th, 2012. This could be the date of an original 4chan post that was posted on this date and saved by OP, which means original poster. However, due to 4chan's constant deletion of old threads and how expensive hosting archives is, many 4chan archives from 2012 are deprecated or do not involve the most popular boards, making it really difficult to search for, and due to this, no thread has been found yet. Or the file name just isn't a Unix date, and it doesn't originate from 4chan. And by the way, a Unix timestamp is like a way of telling time through file names. So the theory was that like the name had come from 4chan itself, and that the image was taken from 4chan and put on a different 4chan thread. And that's why people thought that it came from 4chan in 2012. There have been many false leads in the search of the original Backrooms image. The Backrooms image was uploaded to the Collins cold storage website by an anonymous contributor, which led people to believe that that was the origin of the image. A yellowed room was seen in the background of a photographer's liminal space collection in an abandoned parking garage, but the photographer debunked any connections with the Backrooms. 3D Backrooms images were uploaded to a specific set of coordinates in Google Earth, but this turned out to be part of an ARG, so no one really knows, and there's a whole bunch of YouTube videos about like the search for the Backrooms image, but nobody really knows. This one's really annoying. I wish we could find the original one and like where it was. Dynablox. Roblox is a massively online multiplayer platform that allows users to create and design their own games and play a wide variety of other user-generated games. Back before Roblox became available to the public, its name was originally GoBlox, and then it also was changed to Dynablox for unverifiable reasons, but it was ultimately changed to Roblox afterward because of the name being too hard to remember. Although Roblox is still up and playable, older clients from 2003 to 2006 have completely disappeared. The earliest build currently uncovered by the community is the late March 2007 client. In 1989, David Baszucki founded the company Knowledge Revolution. Around this time, he developed general-purpose software for physics and mechanical simulation, which were intended for educational purposes. According to an interview with David, he recalls creating 3 pieces of software that were all physics-based, these being Interactive Physics, Working Model, and The Incredible Machine. He also met Eric Castle and Keith Lucas around this time. Now, around 1998, he stepped down as the CEO and became the vice president. Later on, Knowledge Revolution was acquired by MSC Software for $20 million, followed by both David and Eric leaving the company. They were soon joined by other employees as well. Soon after, development for a brand new game began, though the year development began is not specified or known. In late September 2003, an entry named eBlocks with the description, quote, stealth mode video game company, is added to David Baszucki's website, but it is unknown what it was about. By December 2003, the pair bought the domains for GoBlocks.com and soon after Dynablox.com. In January 2004, they renamed Dynablox to Roblox, a portmanteau of the names robots and blocks. It was changed due to Dynablox being a hard name to recognize. By mid-2004, David Baszucki and Eric Castle opened the public version of like the beta of the game. It was an online building toy that allowed users to create and design their own games with genres like minigames and puzzle games, driving games, and other ones. In 2005, Roblox was officially released to the public. Despite being released around the time when the internet became a bigger household staple, many builds predating the 2010s are lost. The cause being Roblox moving their servers or removing old content from the main servers, with many not trying to archive these clients. According to the Tumblr blog Client Search, an installer for the 2008 build of Roblox was discovered around 2012. This began with people on the now defunct Roblox forum speculating if there were any other older older builds on the site servers. Sadly, in the following year, Roblox removed all the older versions from c5.roblox.com. In 2015, there were more discoveries of older clients. Roblox developer Clone Trooper 1019 released a GitHub repository from a late 2009 client build. In 2016, a broken installer for the 2007 build of Roblox was discovered. The year after that, a broken installer was discovered alongside with screenshots from 2006. Between 2021 and early 2022, various assets, including games and models, were uncovered. These assets include a January 2006 default place environment, which has XML elements that are remnants of 2005 versions, May 2005 default models with the original XML material intact, and January 2006 humanoid player models. Some of these assets were found via thumbnail hashes, while others were found via a site test leak. Other findings include miscellaneous games from 2006 to 2007/8 being found via the hash method. On October 25th, 2017, Finobe user Reds found an anonymous user who played Roblox back in 2007 and held onto a hard drive containing a handful of clients on their hard drive. Later on, user Callus later contacted the unnamed user for the August 31st, 2007 client and leaked it upon getting it. Hours after the build was leaked, user Clone Trooper 1019 published the leaked vanilla build with permission from Finobe onto a GitHub repository. The repository contains all the files necessary for the build to run properly, since some of it was originally missing, such as fonts, textures, sounds, music, and animations, which were borrowed from a 2008 build. Later that year, it was advised by Clone Trooper 1019 and many others that people should be safe while using this multiplayer functionality of the 07 build due to major security flaws. Finobe, however, released their version of the client containing the necessary patches to fix the major security issues. On March 14th, 2021, another early build of Roblox was discovered and released by an anonymous player from that time period. This build dates back to March 07, making it the earliest discovered build of Roblox in a playable state. This build is also notable as it has various supported debug tools in it, such as Thumbnail Generator, the function used to generate Roblox avatars and game thumbnails. On November 9th, 2015, a Reddit user named WePlay123 uncovered a Google patent abstract titled Online Building Toy that was filed in 2005 by David Butsky and Eric Castle. The patent contained information detailing the thought process behind the creation of Roblox. It also included screenshots of the game itself, flowcharts, and diagrams detailing the functionality of certain methods. In April 2021, the original quality color version of the patent was discovered, which elaborates more information about the gameplay and website in early 2005. The found patent reveals in better quality what some model and game assets looked like in a better, more legible website. And then here's a quote from David Bazuki in 2005. The present invention pertains to a method and apparatus for building online games. In one embodiment, the method may include providing a user interface that facilitates user selection of parts and placing a set of parts selected by a user in a three-dimensional world. The method may also include joining parts within the set based on their proximity to each other in the 3D world to form one or more models for a game, and sending a model file for each one of these models to a server via a network for use by various users. Despite the patent being consistently renewed by David Bazuki, the older versions of the patent abstract still exist. Even early renditions from 2010 and onward can be viewed. Copeland's Herobrine stream. Copeland's Herobrine stream refers to a sighting of the mythical Minecraft character Herobrine by Brocraft streamer Copeland in 2010. The stream was among the first videos of Herobrine, as he had only appeared in still images prior to that. Although he later revealed the incident to be a hoax, the stream is credited with popularizing the myth into mainstream gaming. Screenshots from the incident and recreations have been released, but no footage from the original stream has ever been found. Herobrine is a mythical creature theorized to be found in the video game Minecraft. It most likely originates from 4chan's X board in August 2010. Copeland, at the time a relatively popular Minecraft streamer, found out about the story while browsing the V board on 4chan and started orchestrating a hoax involving the character by taking a screenshot and photoshopping Herobrine into it. After getting positive feedback from fans upon releasing the image, he started orchestrating yet another hoax on a grander scale, which involved him stumbling onto Herobrine during a live stream. The stream, which occurred on August 30th, 2010, skin was described by Copland himself in an email. Quote, "I spent a little while in Photoshop putting an image of Herobrine on a painting. Yup, it was definitely a painting, and then put that painting up in a small room in one of my in-progress houses. My map was small at the time, I think it only had 3 houses. Anyway, I started streaming and avoided that room for about an hour to 2 hours to make it all seem more legit. I then happened to run into the room and directly in front of the door was Herobrine. I screamed and ran out of the house and turned off the stream." End quote. At 3:55 p.m. that same day, Copland would turn to the Minecraft forum, creating a new topic, posting a link to the stream and writing "skipped the last 2 minutes." The thread blew up with reactions from the fan base ranging from disbelief to dismissal of the incident as a prank. All things up until the Copland stream are considered quote canon within the Herobrine myth by most fans of the game, and thus the stream achieved legendary status. The link for the livestream was kept on livestream.com. Several people ranging from the tens to potentially thousands of people saw the incident when and after it happened, with a thread about the subject racking up 35 whole pages. It is unclear how long the stream was up on livestream.com as it wasn't properly archived. One of the earliest mentions of the stream being down comes from September 15th, 2011, just a year after the incident. 2 screenshots by a user named as Kalizmir were posted onto the thread, which are the only surviving pieces of the stream known to exist today. Though a frequently talked about piece of media by several YouTubers documenting the history of Herobrine, none were interested or aware that the stream was lost and that the stream was never searched for particularly often. In 2015, a remake was uploaded to YouTube, which was initially labeled as genuine, but eventually revealed by Copland to be fake. This sparked some interest in finding the original stream to a certain extent. On October 6, 2020, Reddit user u/KRB Studios attempted to retrieve the stream by putting the URL through Wayback Machine, which failed as they were blocked from accessing the page. And with no way of circumventing this, they took to Reddit, which unfortunately yielded no viable results. Less than a month later, YouTuber EnderBoss25 made a video talking about the subject and found researching interesting, prompting him to make a second, much more detailed part. EnderBoss25 then managed to uncover the 3rd screenshot from the screen by pasting the livestream.com onto Discord. He theorizes that this originates early on in the stream. Following this, he got into contact with Copland himself in order for livestream.com to legally retrieve the data from the stream. Though they managed to retrieve the original world file in which the stream occurred, the stream was deleted by livestream.com servers, meaning that it is not accessible through that website. And that's where the search ends as of 2024. SCP-48. SCP-48 is an article written for the SCP Wiki, a writing community creating containment fiction structured around the framing device of the SCP Foundation, a fictional artifact collection agency collecting objects that contradict no natural law. Titled The Cursed SCP Number, SCP-48 tells the story of a numerical designation that, if used, will result in the destruction or loss of the anomalous object attached to it. The article is a meta-reference to various poor quality articles that were written in short order prior to the current version of SCP-48. Prior to its current iteration, SCP-48 garnered a reputation for being home to several low-quality stories written in 2009. There are 5 stories in this slot which were posted between January and February 2009. The first was titled Joey. Joey was a talking dog with containment procedures requiring SCP Foundation workers to refer to him as Joey because he gets angry when called SCP-48 or referred to as an object. Joey was allowed access to most of the compound he was housed at, despite the fact he would attempt to escape if given the opportunity, and given any food or drink he requested, minus alcohol and chocolate, and, quote, fully furnished living quarters, and any reading, movie, or television he asked for is to be granted so long as it was required prior to his containment in 2005. SCP-48 was decommissioned on January 21st, 2009 at 2:01 p.m. by Dr. Gears, thus removing it from the SCP Wiki's main article list. Upon the decommissioning of Joey, SCP-48 became the sole SCP slot open between SCP-02 and SCP-100. Dr. Gears made a forum post on January 23rd, 2008, noting that SCP-48 would be one of the first SCPs that visitors going down the list would see. He asked whether something special such as an auction or contest should be held, or whether the SCP slot should be left open as usual. Dr. Clef responded with the following: "I say leave it open as normal, but whoever writes the new 48 better do a damn fine job. All eyes will be on them, and if they screw it up, their article will be deleted faster than you can say deleted." So basically, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of SCPs, right? And whenever people are on the website and they're scrolling down, 48 will obviously be one of the very first they see, so it's got to be really, really good. And whoever wrote the original 48 didn't do a good job, it got removed, so then whoever was doing the new one had to do a really, really, really good job. SCP Wiki user, quote, name, posted the first replacement for Joey on January 24th, 2009. Titled The Edge of Twilight, it was deleted less than 24 hours later by Dr. Kondraki. The deletion was performed by virtue of the consensus of the SCP Wiki's SCP's moderators who considered the article to be, quote, really poorly done. Next up, a normalizer. The content of this article is unknown. The author posted it without having a Wikidot account, so they were marked as anonymous when they posted it. It was posted on January 27th, 2009 at around 7:54 p.m. The only record of its existence other than the edit history of the SCP Wiki main list page is a reference to its deletion made by then administrator Dr. Kondraki in the relevant thread. Dr. Gerald posted an SCP titled Necklace of Greed to the SCP-48 slot on January 30th, 2009. Dr. Gerald then announced the SCP in the new SCP Announcements 2 forum thread at 8:51 p.m. It was deleted by Dr. Kondraki not long after, although the name would stay on the main list for a few days after the decision was carried out. The current article in the slot is actually a notice that the designation has been retired as everything assigned the number has been, quote, destroyed, decommissioned, stolen, or otherwise lost to the Foundation, usually with the mass loss of SCP staff through, quote, death, dismemberment, and disciplinary action. Based on the page history, Dr. Clef claimed this slot at 12:41 p.m. by posting the word mine. He added most of the content in a second edit at 12:52 p.m. Dr. Kondraki added an addendum about a vampire boat at 1:17 p.m. The edition reads as such: Addendum 3, SCP-48 has been once again removed from the archives after it became highly apparent that no such vampire boat had ever existed, much less come under Foundation control. It's currently believed that this error occurred when a low-level researcher attempted to save his, quote, awesome story idea to his hard drive, and instead overwrote the blank slot reserved for SCP-48. The said researcher has been removed from any and all archival duties for the time being. The entire edit history of the Series 1 page is preserved on the Wikidot. The title Vampire Boat never appeared in the SCP-48 slot, nor for that matter did any variation of the word boat or vampire. Further, SCP staff kept meticulous records of deleted SCPs on the deletion thread, yet no reference to the vampire boat or any additional SCP-48s were ever made. Based on these two facts, it's likely that Dr. Kondraki simply made up the vampire boat. On the current SCP-48 talk page, there are several SCP members who claim that there was in fact a vampire boat. Neither these claims nor any research to the vampire boat predate Dr. Kondraki's edition. The Blue Squid claims to have read the article and remember describing the vampires phasing through walls and stating the vampires, quote, have a habit of being uncontained. However, this member was solely active in May and June of 2016. This is not an editor one would expect to have memories of an SCP that existed for a few weeks in 2009. To date, only one of the former versions of SCP-48 is accessible online. Joey is archived by the Wayback Machine while it was still the official SCP-48, but also for being part of a series of decommissioned articles designed to make fun of one of the worst articles written on the website during its first few years. Wikidot does not save the article history of deleted pages, meaning for SCP-48 being deleted and recreated caused all previous information on the page to be lost forever. The only possible avenue for recovery would be someone preserving deleted SCPs in January, February 2009 to have saved them contemporaneously and then to have saved them from then until now. Family Guy Online. Alright guys, this one I just put in here for fun because I think it's funny. Family Guy Online was a online MMORPG from 2012 to 2013 based on the long-running animated sitcom series of the same name. In the game, the player could customize their own character and take on missions given to them by other Family Guy characters in the city of Quahog. However, due to the fact that Fox was making almost no profit from it, it was shut down a year later with no mirrors in sight. The game itself is lost, however, there are many gameplay videos on Family Guy Online. On June 12th, 2022, LMW Discord user Golden Child found that Discord user Daver had uploaded 2,621 files from the game to Blueplode via the Flashpoint Web Cache Recovery Index. It contained 1,310 folders of asset and cached metadata files for the game, with dates ranging between September 5th, 2012 to November 10th, 2012. The Incel project was a TV mature-rated Blip.tv original documentary series released from 2008 to 2012. The doc was featured in the, quote, original series section of Blip.tv, which is now defunct, and is a seemingly curated section of the site. The documentary's non-Blip.tv homepage was involuntarycelibacy.com, which is also now defunct. Non-draft or non-final cut episodes appear to be straight interviews and often exceeded 20 minutes. The series was released as a work in progress to be assembled into a condensed final cut documentary, perhaps with other footage. At least 2 different drafts of a final cut were also uploaded to Blip.tv and released. Almost all footage associated with with this docuseries is lost. In 1997, Elena created the Elena's Involuntary Celibacy program as an academic project and email listserv to fuel academic research into involuntary singledom. This culminated in a series of academic papers by the sociologists Denise Donnelly, Elizabeth Burgess, and Laura Carpenter, among others. While the email listserv was still open, a separate forum opened called incelsite.com in 2004. This was the first ever self-described incel forum using conventional forum software. Elena's email listserv also changed ownership to a Canadian computer store owner. Beyond hosting his own forum, the owner of incelsite.com also took up the duty of linking their site to the older listserv. Incelsite.com closed due to the owner feeling the members were, on the whole, not meeting their goals and suggested a forum comprised of experts, although no such thing ever transpired. In 2006, incelsupport.org started, with many of the same members as incelsite.com. This forum lasted until around 2008, when arguments on the forum about genetic determinism split the forum in two. Those who rejected that involuntary celibacy was caused primarily by genetic factors started incel.myonlinespace.org during 2008. By the way, if you didn't know, celibacy is like when you can't get sex. Anyways, those who believed that this was primarily caused by genetics started a much smaller group at the time called Involuntary Celibacy Acceptance and Management. While incel.myonlineplace.org had a subtitle of incel support, it was not the same incel support forum as the one aforementioned. Someone named Casey led incel.myonlineplace.org, while the previous was led by a Canadian named Kernan. It is rumored that Kernan was not welcome on the newer forum, although this is not confirmed. It is likely that incel.myonlineplace.org is the forum most associated with this particular documentary. This documentary being the Incel Project, The Lost Media. This is just some background knowledge on it. Author Talmer Shockley is featured in this documentary and may have been a user or lurker of incel.myonlineplace.org. Laura Carpenter is also featured. A similar forum that existed at the time, loveshy.com, also had its own popular documentary. The documentary appears to be shot from a social justice and medical perspective. Content is mostly dry and clinical and included our highly topical discussions about mental health, the stigma of inceldom, life as an incel, and, quote, coming out as an incel. A year after this documentary stalled in 2013, incel.myonlineplace.org had a server crash and most parts and posts were lost. Various forums discussed the doc before and after development. One of the forum reviews was positive and talked about a Laura Carpenter interview. They said she talks about involuntary celibacy leading to more involuntary celibacy, since the individual's self-esteem is lowered the longer he or she lives with it, and possible partners being turned off by the seeming oddity of an older virgin. Production halted sometime between 2012 and 2014. In 2014, a forum user of a separate forum called puahate.com, which stands for pickup artist, named Elliot Roger went on a shooting spree in the name of self-professed involuntary singledom. This event may have precipitated the cancellation of the release of the documentary, even though Incel Support denied Elliot Roger was an active member of their forum. However, the series was removed from blip.tv for unknown reasons at least 2 months before the shooting, and perhaps the director simply gave up on the project for other reasons. 2 drafts of the final cut were released. However, from Web Archive, it is unclear whether a final cut was released or not. Most info about the web series is available from Internet Archive snapshots of the channel on blip.tv. Only segments of 2 interviews survive, and not the full footage of those 2 interviews that were released. These found segments contain psychologists and advocate for love shy men named Brian Gilmartin, as well as a segment of an interview of author Talmer Shockley. Outside of the Gilmartin and Shockley footage, the rest is completely lost. There have been efforts to preserve blip.tv content before it shut down in 2015. Efforts to find these documentaries in blip.tv archives have not come to anything as of February 2020. Possible people to contact for lost footage include the author Talmer Shockley or Laura Carpenter. There is a link on a German forum to a YouTube channel who used to possibly contain the full documentary. This YouTube link is now dead, but the channel is still up and appears to have changed by the person who possibly created the original documentary. So there are 10 episodes that we know existed, which are Dr. Gilmartin interview, Incel Support member 40, Incel Support member mid-30s, 2 friends, Texas interview, Incel Support member early 40s, college student, gay man late 40s, Incel Support member late 30s, and Incel Support member late 30s.